This is MJ. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an analyzer. Find all my work at mjmoners.com. Henshin Inspection presents Super Sentai Sanctuary. I will be discussing what is the power of story. This is Super Sentai Sanctuary episode 22. That's bananas! Avataro Sentai Donbrothers episode 22, a Hellish manga method, originally aired July 31st, 2022. The writer is Toshiki Inoue, the director is Katsuya Watanabe. I don't understand why they did not just commit to the bit and have the whole episode be an adaptation of the manga. I think I would have preferred that a little bit. Go even farther out of the box and do something a little bolder, and that makes a little bit more sense. You could have maybe narration or cuts to Sonoza and Haruka to explain why it's dramatically shifting in tone and whatnot, and she's adapting or changing the manga as it's going to his liking. I'd be okay with that, but I don't know. I guess I understand they had to have those other fights in there. So structurally, for how they wanted to do it, they had to do it this way, but I wish they would have done it a different way. And that's still something I'm going to hold against it, because it didn't have to be this way. And also, I don't quite get where all of this is going. This is fairly close to filler. We got to see a little bit of progress with Jirous' personality and him and his dynamics into the team, and how they're telling him, like, hey, we kind of don't trust you, and that, again, like the Pink Panther thing, your boy Taro is happy to have him in there, or as part of the Donbrothers, because it'll just keep everybody on their toes, because you never know when he's going to flip and go crazy and have to be fought off. So that's just kind of odd. I don't really get what's going on with Jirous' story, like I said, so it's a strange one. Anyway, moving on to my positive stuff. Haruka trying to bridge the gap between humans and cerebrans with her manga is super cool. I adore this idea. I guess she doesn't know what we know, which is that supposedly cerebrans, or at least Sonoe, that particular cerebran, value the lives of humans, and therefore humans don't really need saving from the cerebrans. It's really the Hitotsuki and the bestials that are a problem, and the Cerebran Knights are just dealing with humans in a really weird way by sending them to the Phantom Zone or Shadow Realm or whatever. And I've got some issues with some of the stuff going on with the villains. Yes, the villains are the only part that's a problem in this show. Haruka's great, and it doesn't matter if Taro's irritating and unlikable, because everybody else is great. That's a subtweet or a sub TikTok response. I don't know how you say that, but anyway, somebody said something, and I keep meaning to respond to the guy, but there it is. Maybe I'll just clip that. Other thing, the Poitrine homage was so much fun. They captured the vibe for sure. I've only seen a couple of episodes of Poitrine, but like the step down in the action directing and in the fight and a couple other things, to me, very much felt like Poitrine. She's got like a Poitrine mask she's using her weapon too. That's totally, I wonder if that's from, I don't think, it wasn't Megamax. Megamax is the wrong movie I'm thinking. I'm thinking the Wizard, big Wizard crossover movie with everybody else, where Poitrine was in it, and so were the Devil guys, the three Devil dudes, the yellow, blue, and red, I believe. Anyway, another Ishinomori, or more Ishinomori stuff getting, roped in, but I'm pretty sure that Poitrine in that one had the transformation device. Oh my gosh. It's also the one, it's the 5 years later where we get to see Gintaro as a school teacher at Amahai, and one of his students is, Bug Boy. The real Bug Boy, OG Bug Boy. If you're not checking out all my stuff, including my Masked Rider reviews or reactions, that went over your head a little bit. But there was an original Bug Boy, and that's Inazuman, the kid who becomes Inazuman. I can't remember his name right now. But anyway, regardless, he's the OG Bug Boy, and I'm totally off track. They use the prop that they used here for Oni Poitrine is, that sounds bad, is the same prop they used in that, probably. It looks fairly similar. So, anyway, moving on from that. I really like Poitrine. I wish the whole thing were subbed. It's not yet. Hopefully I can arrange that, but we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, moving on to the episode score. Oh, yeah. Moving on to the episode score. I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. And if you want to know why, I'll explain right now. I liked it, but it wasn't that good. I think Haruka's aunt might actually be Naoki Shina. Didn't she make beef stroganoff too? And I figure that if Haruka makes it, she probably learned how to make it from her aunt. And anyway, not a lot happened in this episode, but it was entertaining. I really enjoyed what I was seeing as we were going through it. And I don't know, it was wild and weird, and I'm here for it. And I'm, hashtag Donbrothers for life. It's gonna be my tramp stamp. Anyway, but really, I'm digging the show, and I just enjoy Haruka as a character and what they're doing with her. So I dug this because we got a lot of Haruka, not so much the other guys, but it was funny seeing them in those glimpses in the alternate versions of them in her manga. So that's kind of cool. Anyway, moving on to the reflection. If you're not interested in anything but me talking about the show directly, then now's a good point to jump off. But if you want to hear a little bit of what I say about this, as a slightly pretentious person with aspirations of being a very successful published author who integrates tokusatsu or at least stuff from the Henshin hero shows that I see in my writing, then I guess you should stay on. Anyway, what is the power of story? Now, I talked about what is the power of imagination previously, and I guess I talked last week on that Saruhara focus episode, and I ended up saying that the power of imagination is the power of life and creation and giving life where there is none. And while the power of story very much is similar to that, I'm not going to shy away from that, because Saruhara, being an artist, haiku writer, and otherwise very imaginative person, there are similarities between him and Haruka, being a mangaka and a writer of her own, by her own rights, and they're both different types of creatives, is what I'm saying. So they both do creative work, and it brings them joy, and the plan is for it to bring joy to others. Now, she was successful with First Love Hero, and he's been successful doing something or other with his imagination and things like that. But more to the point of, there's a difference between just raw imagination, the ability to make something like haiku, and storytelling, whether it's short form or long form. And I would say that the power of storytelling is that it takes imagination and it makes it I was gonna say more palatable, but I don't know if more palatable is the right way to say it. It takes like the raw gems of imagination, and it arranges them and sets them up so that an audience can go through a story, discover these gems. Excuse me, I'm choking or turning into a frog for some reason. I guess I picked the wrong day to quit smoking crack. Anyway, I think the power of story is that it takes like just the normal stuff of life, and it allows you, with the power of imagination, to create a narrative, to create a structure, to create something that people can go through and experience for themselves, and they can walk away from that experience, or roll away if they must, changed and transformed, because in their mind, by having listened to, read, or watched the story, they have experienced it to an extent in their minds and in their hearts, and I would say in their souls as well. I believe that's proven that people do mentally react to shows and books and such as if they actually experience themselves. And I've heard the phrase, your brain doesn't really know the difference. And I think that's interesting, because that would mean that stories have the ability and the power to transform people into somebody else for a short amount of time, and possibly and probably ultimately transform who someone is now going forward in their life. Now, depending on many factors, how good the story is, how long the story is, how much exposure this person has to the one story, whether it's one story over and over and over again ad infinitum, ad nauseum, or if it's exposure to a long running story that tells of a group or an individual over a long period of time and over their changes and stuff. There is an ability to use a story or have a story change your life. And I mean, it's as simple as that. That's the power of story. And I'm going to focus back in on some of the details of the episode and see how some of the writing emphasizes my point. And I will start with this, that Sonoza is trying to learn about the human condition, and he wants to learn about the full spectrum. He's not just focused on the one thing. I guess he started off with laughter, and then at one point I think he moved on to sadness, and now he I think is kind of exploring the mysteries of love through his exposure to First Love Hero. And besides that, you know, he's telling Haruka that he wants her to take her art seriously, and not to say, oh, it's just a manga, so that she dismisses it and therefore doesn't put in the requisite effort to elicit the correct response out of him, or the most powerful response that can be had out of him. But in addition to that, the story, I guess, well, I'm trying to, I got a little bit lost there. You have to excuse me. I'm doing this raw, I'm doing this live, so I don't have the opportunity to stop and structure and go back and edit things to my liking to be as cohesive and smooth as I want them to be. So I'm just going to keep going and say, you know, Sonoza's sort of being transformed by First Love Hero as he's trying to understand the human condition. And perhaps, you know, the old adage that people fear what they do not understand. Fear and hate, I think, is how it's said, what they don't understand. I'm pretty sure I heard that from Storm in like 1992 or 93 from the X-Men cartoon. Or maybe that was Halle Berry's Storm in the, you know, that first X-Men movie. I don't remember. Regardless, I'm pretty sure it comes from X-Men, that people fear and hate what they don't understand. Is it possible that Cerebrans fear and hate to a degree what they don't understand, and that's why they have no compassion on those people who they send to that negative zone, Shadow Realm type place when they defeat them in their Hitotsuki forms? I don't really know. What I do want to say is that it's interesting that there's this arc in this journey of these Cerebrans becoming possibly more human-like, but definitely coming to understand humans more through various things. And it seems like, because we've had such a marked difference in Sonoza since he started reading Haruka's manga, that for him at least, storytelling and going through a narrative structure is the thing that seems to be most effectively changing him. He has not attacked anybody or harassed anybody for 2, maybe 3 episodes since he discovered First Love Hero. Now, you could say, well, he attacked Haruka, but, you know, Haruka doesn't count. She's always getting attacked, and nobody cares. So, and it's always played for laughs, so that's why I'm laughing. I think I've already said this. I really like the Haruka character, so, you know, no hate coming from me. But regardless, you know, we're seeing a transformation in him, and I'll be curious to see how far that goes. Haruka even seems to be undergoing a transformation as well, as she is reading Naoko, what is it? Naoki Shina's manga, and it's cool because she appears in the last panel of it in the same pose, and she's basically at a place where, because of how good this other person's creative at work is, how good Naoki's manga is, she wants to become an even better mangaka and learn to express herself better and write more captivating, more convincing stories, I would argue, in order to surpass the craft that Naoki's putting forth. Now, how exactly does that apply to Sonoza? I think that's his name. How does that apply to Sonoza? I'm not exactly sure. Maybe like how Haruka's you know, challenging herself to rise to the occasion and surpass Naoki in their manga crafting ability. Maybe this guy is gonna try to surpass humans in their ability to experience the whole spectrum of human emotion, and yet not sin, no, and yet not fall into the evils, the greed, the avarice, the selfishness that humans are plagued by due to our emotions. And I don't know, maybe that's where it's going. And maybe, you know, getting metatextual and stepping out of it, maybe that's why this is how the story is being structured. Maybe that's why this is why the story is so weird, and we're getting a very, you know, odd look at our first villain group, the Cerebrans, who turn out not to be a villain group, who turn out to be basically a neutral party, and then we've got things slowly developing as they develop a relationship with these people who are apparently enemies to them in the Donbrothers. It will come about that they're together, the two of them, their true enemy is these bestials and the Hitotsuki, which like the Hitotsuki can be seen as like mankind's weakness, and the bestials perhaps will be seen as like an actual outside threat, whether that be something environmental, or actual wild animals, or natural disaster, which would be environmental, like I said, or some sort of man-made conflict that they have to face, and the only way they can overcome it is by coming together. Now, of course, that's gross speculation on my part, but I'm just trying to see where this is going and what the story is saying, because this is Inoue. Inoue wrote Kiva, right? And in Kiva, you have the villain group. You have the villain group, who is a villain group, but who has plenty of members. It's a villain race, really, but there are plenty of members of the villain race there who live peacefully among humans, who choose not to attack humans, and then ultimately, spoilers for Kiva, an amazing show you should go watch now, is that the Fengires and the humans figure out a way to work together, or they plan to figure out a way to work together and coexist peacefully, and the Fengire want to keep their own from attacking and destroying humans because they want to have peace now. And gosh, that's like a metaphor for maybe Imperial Japan, or any imperial nationalist force that once wanted to dominate and subjugate all others to itself, but then was chastened by being defeated and decided to instead cooperate with others. But I'm not going to go into that right now. But anyway, so like I'm speculating that because he did it once there, he might do it again here. Not that he necessarily will, but just it's an idea in my head, and it's relevant to me because I'm familiar a little bit with Inoue's writing and some of the stuff he's done. But I'm just wondering, like, is that what's going on? And again, getting metatextual, is that like the message and the moral that the show is trying to inculcate to the children and distinguished individuals like myself who are watching this show? I don't know. Again, it would be speculation to say yes, but I think it would be foolish to say there's no way that's what's going on, because this story is telling stories within its story, and it's having the story judged and edited and tweaked and presented because a person wants to have the story affect another person in the story. So there has to be something there to that, I think. But anyway, I think I've rambled on a little bit too much, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it short. Please check out mjmunoz.com for all of my stuff. Check out more of Super Sentai Sanctuary. I plan on continuing Super Sentai Sanctuary, and I will be covering Futo PI. Here's an announcement right now. I'll be covering Futo PI as well. It's going to be the thing I watch next, and probably you'll get weeks, if you're listening to this as it's coming out, where I don't know if Futo PI is 13 or 26 episodes. I hope it's only 13. I can only handle so much at once, but regardless, you can expect Donbrothers, Futo PI, and something else, or for sure those two things every week. And I'm trying real hard to get my personal writing creative stuff done as well every week, but I think I'm gonna have to adjust my schedule and my expectations, and I need to watch Godzilla for my next thing to help me figure some stuff out before I write that. I'm gonna shift to a smaller project, which is actually it's a medium-sized project, which is 4 small projects. I'm going to shift to that for the next couple months. So, for how far are we into Donbrothers? Hopefully by the end of Donbrothers, I will have this project finished, and I'll be publishing it or releasing links to a GoFundMe, Indiegogo type thing to help me crowdfund and pay for art for it to be done. And if you like Super Sentai or Ultraman or Kamen Rider or even Godzilla, you'll probably like this thing that I'm working on. I'm hoping you will. So anyway, I will share more about that stuff with you later, and then after that project or those 4 mini projects are done, please God, I will have made a bunch of money, and I'll be able to pour that into my other projects, which I think will be even more enjoyable for people who like the stuff I'm into. So anyway, with that, I am going to go ahead and get out of here, and I will suggest that you check out my short videos about Donbrothers as well, because I'm going to keep those up as long as I can while watching Futo PI as well, watching and analyzing Futo PI, but they should be either on Odyssey, the short form there, on TikTok, or on the Devil's internet video player, YouTube. So look all those places for those if you like. So anyway, that's it. I'm MJ, and I leave you with peace and blessings. Until next time, folks, take care. Now I'm just vamping because I can't find my button to stop this recording, and you're just going to have to suffer through it. I don't know when I'm going to find. This is a part of the Story Over Everything initiative.